Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2, Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. Yulon City. A thin veil of rain draped over the vast heavens and earth. Luo Feng, restless amidst the silence, stepped out of his cave mansion. The more I understand, the more I realize how difficult it is to escape the braided cage. Luo Feng pondered. His current aim wasn't to achieve a breakthrough in the life and death Tao, but to comprehend the mysteries of the primordial bloodlines, how they achieved perfect union, seamlessly natural. Perfect union, seamlessly natural, would lead to entirely breaking through the braided cage and reaching a new realm. I've spent considerable time, 5 full cycles of study, on the 323 varieties of early-stage Divine Emperor primordial bloodlines before setting them temporarily aside. Each new bout of comprehension would yield something new, though the returns diminished as time went on. Luo Feng had invested nearly 1,500 epochs acquiring and studying these primordial bloodlines. Most of these 1,500 epochs were devoted to comprehending early-stage Divine Emperor primordial bloodlines. Only recently did he start studying the middle-stage bloodlines, and currently, he had managed to meticulously analyze 34 types. Every variety of middle-stage Divine Emperor bloodline has brought me tremendous insights. I've delved into 34 of them in succession, and my soul aches with exhaustion, Luo Feng thought. For these roughly 1,500 epochs, he had constantly been using various auxiliary treasures to aid cultivation, which had taken a toll on his soul. Only now did he decide to rest. I can feel it. Every piece of primordial bloodline draws me closer to escaping the braided cage. I must thoroughly study these primordial bloodlines. There's no room for impatience. Luo Feng treasured these resources greatly. At this moment, Luo Feng had the intuition that, with enough time and effort to consolidate his understanding, he could soon upgrade the life and death Tao to the late-stage Divine Emperor level. However, he wasn't in a rush. The deeper the accumulation, the more profound the understanding of the life and death Tao, thereby fortifying the stability of his chosen path. No need to rush, he reassured himself. Once the life and death Tao reached the late-stage Divine Emperor, it would elevate him above even the 3 Hall Masters in rank. In the dark sacred realm, he would shine as an unparalleled figure. Yet now, he could almost touch this realm. At times, Luo Feng wondered, was he truly a peerless prodigy? Other cultivators remained trapped at some bottleneck, unable to break through. Step by step, Luo Feng ascended naturally to higher realms. Compared to other cultivators, perhaps I am able to grasp the essence of the Tao more directly, Luo Feng pondered. Many cultivators struggled endlessly at the periphery of the great Tao, while Luo Feng could see and seize its core truth with clarity. I see many cultivators as mediocre. Perhaps in Senior Yuan's eyes, I too might appear mediocre, Luo Feng chuckled lightly. The fine rain continued to fall. For once, Luo Feng refrained from cultivation, taking pleasure in admiring the city he resided in. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. A grim laughter rang out from the distance. Luo Feng turned to look. Yulon City sprawled across vast lands. Beside a lake stood an elder drinking wine and laughing mournfully. The sorrow embedded in the laughter was palpable even to Luo Feng. An ultimate realm godly king. Luo Feng instantly discerned the elder's power. He quickly suppressed his own aura, letting it barely reach the Divine Emperor threshold. Luo Feng approached. Old fellow, what weighs so heavily on your heart? Luo Feng produced a jug of wine and tossed it toward the elder. The elder caught the jug without much thought, took a sip, and his eyes lit up. He nodded in approval, good wine. I was merely feeling irked earlier. Laughing it out helps, ha ha ha. Irked? Luo Feng asked, observing him. I, an ultimate realm godly king, have spent ages here in Yulon City doing odd jobs, still having to pay residence fees, cave mansion rental fees and more. After tens of thousands of epochs, I just managed to save a bit of wealth, the elder replied. I finally bought some breakthrough assisting elixirs, but on my way back, I discovered the elixirs were gone. Gone? Luo Feng deduced. An ultimate realm godly king wouldn't simply lose their treasures. There was only one likely explanation: they had been stolen. Luo Feng himself had experienced theft upon arriving in Yulon City. Those of us weak ultimate realm godly kings often don't even notice when we're robbed, the elder lamented. In the past, I didn't care much when I was stolen from. But this time, it was the hard-earned fortune I had used to purchase auxiliary elixirs. Now, it's all gone. It's too difficult, far too difficult. Earning primordial crystals is difficult, surviving is difficult, cultivation is difficult, the elder said with complexity in his tone. Yet, after taking a couple more sips, the elder laughed again. Still, despite the hardships, at least in Yulon City, there's hope for cultivation. Indeed, there's hope, Luo Feng nodded. Everyone who came to Yulon City did so in pursuit of greater progress on the cultivation path. Thank you for the fine wine, old friend, the elder said with a smile before departing. Life as a cultivator must continue forward. Watching the elder leave, Luo Feng murmured, this is the normal life of Yulon City's bottom tier. Di Fu and Emperor Ming, upon arriving at Yulon City, faced similar struggles, finding even the most ordinary jobs proved immensely challenging. The majority of cultivators in Yulon City, totaling in the billions, belonged to this bottom-tier population. Unable to hunt low-level primordial life due to lack of strength, they sought ways to serve the strong, merely to earn a fraction of resources. Still, they were prone to theft while having to pay residence fees and cave mansion rental fees. A short distance away, the elder suddenly froze, staring at the wine jug in his hand. Within the jug was an invisible seal hiding a piece of primordial crystal. This one piece of primordial crystal was equivalent to 10,000 primordial crystals. 10,000 primordial crystals. The elder turned rapidly, searching for Luo Feng's figure by the lakeside, but he was nowhere to be seen. At this moment, the elder realized that the man from earlier was no ordinary individual. Thank you, senior, the elder murmured in gratitude, resisting the urge to draw attention to himself. Instead, he immediately hurried toward his cave mansion. He dared not carry such a massive sum of primordial crystals around. Walking through Yulon City, Luo Feng observed the numerous bottom-tier cultivators scattered throughout. Most lacked steady, long-term employment. For many factions, maintaining long-term personnel was a heavy burden. Even at a mere 20 primordial crystals per epoch, over 100,000 epochs, or 1,000,000 epochs, the costs would become staggering. Thus, most factions preferred temporary workers, hiring more during busy periods and dismissing them during lulls. Even so, bottom-tier cultivators are the most vulnerable to theft. Luo Feng noticed multiple thefts occurring as he wandered through the city. They're impoverished, weak, and can't afford treasures such as the illusion realm maze. Huff! A flying boat soared past in the distance. Luo Feng sensed 5 cultivators aboard, judging from their aura, all likely Divine Emperor early stage enlightened. He guessed they had recently returned from a hunt. In Yulon City, even those who escape the bottom tier, with greater strength at the Divine Emperor early stage enlightened level, must risk their lives to hunt. Even Divine Emperor middle stage enlightened cultivators often take on these hunting roles. Only a rare few manage to secure key positions in major factions. Luo Feng reflected. Take Emperor Qing, for instance, a divine emperor middle stage enlightened cultivator who, due to Luo Feng's connection, had landed a desirable post in the Dan Tower. Otherwise, with so many powerful individuals in the city, why would the Changqing building owner choose him? Within Yulon City, few truly led comfortable lives. Over 99% faced persistent hardship. Even in the face of so much adversity, they all came here for the sake of their cultivation journey. Luo Feng reached the entrance of the cave mansion, belonging to one of three major predatory factions, the Insect Nest. Even from a great distance, the enormous, towering spherical entity was visible. Its surface featured countless frenzied faces embedded within, and numerous holes allowed a constant stream of cultivators to come and go. The Insect Nest Master, Luo Feng remarked calmly. Though he hadn't hurried to reach the late stage of the life and death Dao. Even at the middle stage, when coupled with life and destruction already at late divine emperor levels, plus his extensive years of research into primordial bloodlines, Luo Feng's foundation was profoundly robust, allowing him to formulate numerous secret techniques. He didn't place much importance on the three Hall Masters, and naturally regarded the Insect Nest Master even less. The infinite primordial space contains countless source worlds, and even more innumerable billions of worlds, Luo Feng mused. Regardless of whether or not there's an Insect Nest Master, Master of Deceit Workshop, or Shadow Tower owner, there will always be those willing to steal and plunder. For resources, no means were too extreme. In the 9 Rivers Sacred Realms 35 cities, every city faced similar challenges. Even if Luo Feng became a city lord and forcibly dismantled predatory groups like the Insect Nest, theft and plunder would remain unavoidable. Luo Feng came to my cave mansion and is staring at me. This massive insect nest was the physical body of the Insect Nest Master. Standing outside, Luo Feng gazed at the insect nest without hesitation, naturally drawing the attention of the Insect Nest Master. I haven't yet procured a suitable mental secret treasure, the Insect Nest Master thought worriedly. I'll have to endure this for now. But once the treasure is in my possession, I'll show Luo Feng the cost of provoking me. A sudden mental transmission echoed within the insect nest. Insect Nest Master, I'm right outside your cave mansion, staring at your massive body. Are you pretending not to notice me? Luo Feng's voice resounded. Luo Feng, the Insect Nest Master burned with anger, glaring at Luo Feng as she transmitted her reply, you've crossed the line. You went to the Dan Tower and directly attacked me. I'm merely standing outside your cave mansion and speaking a few words. Is that overstepping? Luo Feng's transmitted voice carried a playful humor. The Insect Nest Master fell silent. Your courage is far smaller than the rumors suggest. Seeing the master's silence and lack of retort, Luo Feng dismissed any further interaction and departed without lingering. The Insect Nest Master had swallowed her pride. For him to dare provoke me must mean he has some backing, the master speculated, her instincts sharpened by countless years of existence. As Luo Feng wandered the streets of Yulon City, within a modest cave mansion located in the city's outer district, 2 weak cultivators gathered. Prepare yourselves, the king will soon enter Yulon City, a thin cultivator transmitted mentally. The king is finally coming. An elderly cultivator grew excited. I will immediately mobilize my subordinates and prepare them. The king's arrival must remain known only to the leaders, the thin cultivator cautioned. Everyone below the leaders must stay in the dark. Rest assured, my subordinates believe this is simply another ordinary infiltration and assassination mission. Such operations have been common in the past, the elderly cultivator assured. The truth of the plan remains with me alone. The thin cultivator nodded via mental transmission, get ready and wait patiently. When the king enters Yulon City, he'll communicate directly with us leaders. The elderly cultivator's eagerness showed, we've waited so long for this. Finally, we'll tear Yulon City apart. Its billions of cultivators will be a feast to savor. Once we've devoured enough cultivators, we'll have a chance at regaining our freedom. Out in the broader world, killing even one cultivator posed significant challenges. But breaching Yulon City would present billions of cultivators as ready prey. Wait patiently, the day is near, the thin cultivator promised with a faint smile. Luo Feng had been in Yulon City for quite some time. Although he had heard of low-level primordial life sneaking into the city and launching assassinations, he had yet to encounter one himself. His thoughts were entirely focused on cultivation, and he hadn't even applied for the elder examination. To Luo Feng, becoming an elder would divert his attention. He needed to concentrate solely on cultivation. Swish, swish, swish tilde tilde tilde. Outside the Dan Tower main building, figures descended one after another, completely blocking the main entrance. This made the customers who came to purchase elixirs somewhat uneasy. One by one, they hurriedly moved away to avoid trouble. It's the insect nest. Cultivators from the insect nest. Looks like the insect nest and the Dan Tower are about to clash. We'd better stay out of this. Many customers quickly fled the scene. Chaos erupted near the Dan Tower main building. The attendants and mid to high-level staff were apprehensive as they looked at the figures of the cultivators outside the building. What's the insect nest doing here? Since Luo Feng Divine Emperor joined our Dan Tower, we've been expanding our business for 1,500 eras. The insect nest hasn't made a move, but now they suddenly show up. The Dan Tower members were somewhat panicked and immediately reported upwards. Soon, the news reached Changqing building owner and Luo Feng. Brother Luo Feng, members of the insect nest have mobilized on a large scale and surrounded the Dan Tower main building, Changqing building owner transmitted. However, under the regulations of Yulon City, they wouldn't dare go too far. It's probably a negotiation visit. Let's observe their intentions for now, Luo Feng said with a hint of curiosity. The insect nest's leader had tolerated things for so long. Had they finally run out of patience? Dan Tower main building. A towering, scale-armored man led a group of insect nest cultivators into the building. His cold gaze and prominent, thick-scaled tail made him stand out. As he walked into the Dan Tower, the vast space seemed to contort around him, making him its center. The invisible pressure caused the Dan Tower members to tremble with fear. Elder Saluo, there's no need to intimidate the juniors. Changqing building owner appeared, and the building's formation began operating naturally, suppressing the terrifying aura of the towering scale-armored man. Elder Saluo, one of the 7 top figures of the insect nest, was at the elder level. Building owner Changqing, Elder Saluo said coldly. I'm not here for you. Oh? Changqing building owner realized that the insect nest's intentions differed from what he had initially thought. Bring out your Dan Towers, Jiyu Qingyuan alchemist. Elder Saluo declared coldly. Jiyu Qingyuan. Changqing building owner frowned slightly, but still gave an order. Go and summon Jiyu Qingyuan to come here. Understood. A subordinate immediately left. Elder Saluo, alchemist Jiyu Qingyuan, is one of our 7 high-level alchemists in the Dan Tower. I hold him in high regard, Changqing building owner said with a smile. I'm curious how he has offended you. Elder Saluo cast a sidelong glance at Changqing building owner. Changqing building owner relied on alchemy for resources, while Elder Saluo was a battle specialist who frequently hunted in the dark sacred realm. Naturally, he didn't think much of Changqing. You'll understand soon enough, Elder Saluo said indifferently. Changqing building owner slightly furrowed his brows. Both sides fell silent, their members not daring to make a sound. Shortly after, Alchemist Jiyu Qingyuan arrived. Dressed humbly, the middle-aged man had the strength of a mid-stage divine emperor enlightened cultivator. His alchemy technique was unmatched. Aside from Chongqing building owner, he was the best among the Dan Tower's 7 high-level alchemists. "You're here," Jiyu Qingyuan said, glancing at Elder Saluo and his group. "Did you think hiding in the Dan Tower would keep you safe?" Elder Saluo's eyes filled with killing intent. "You truly have guts. In Yulon City, you dared to assassinate 2 of my mid-stage divine emperor enlightened subordinates. According to the city's regulations, killing cultivators within its borders means you deserve death. Do you have evidence?" Jiyu Qingyuan calmly asked. Rage flickered in Elder Saluo's eyes. Of course, he lacked evidence. The insect nest had paid a heavy price to deduce that the culprit was Jiyu Qingyuan. 2 mid-stage divine emperors. Chongqing building owner said in surprise. In Yulon City, without disturbing the city's defense systems, it's nearly impossible to silently kill such powerful individuals, even at the elder level. He used poison, Elder Saluo explained. I asked 2 friends for assistance to investigate past time-space traces and causality, confirming the poison was his doing. Why would I poison 2 of your insect nest members for no reason? Jiyu Qingyuan questioned doubtfully. Your sole disciple was killed during a raid. Elder Saluo gazed at Jiyu Qingyuan. You suspected my 2 subordinates were responsible. Indeed. Jiyu Qingyuan nodded and sighed. My only disciple was killed. He worked carefully to accumulate resources through artifact refining skills within the city. But he was still targeted. Just for purchasing a treasure, he was ambushed and killed while returning to his cave mansion. Before he died, he transmitted a message to me, revealing the 2 culprits. They were members of your insect nest. A deathbed transmission. Elder Saluo scoffed. It could very well have been other raiders in disguise. In Yulon City, disguise techniques are endless. Determining the culprits requires sufficient evidence. Jiyu Qingyuan stared at Elder Saluo. My disciple was weak, and I am merely an ordinary alchemist. I lack the ability to poison 2 mid-stage divine emperor enlightened individuals. You also said that identifying culprits in Yulon City demands conclusive evidence. Elder Saluo glared at the alchemist. He knew full well that Jiyu Qingyuan was the murderer. So, the insect nest made an error? Elder Saluo asked. Jiyu Qingyuan, come with me. Cooperate with the investigation and prove your innocence. Take him away. On what grounds? Without evidence, why take him? Other Dan Tower alchemists voiced their anger. Elder Saluo. Chongqing building owner interjected. You intend to forcibly take Jiyu Qingyuan without evidence. Because I'm an elder. Elder Saluo shot a cold glance at Chongqing building owner and displayed a time-space projection. With evidence of past time-space showing Jiyu Qingyuan in close proximity to the deceased, coupled with causality traces, I suspect him as the culprit. I also have Elder Dayu's issued decree. Does that give me the right to take him for investigation? Elder Saluo was enraged. 2 key subordinates had been poisoned within the city. What leader could endure such a loss? We can't let them take Brother Jiyu. If he's taken, he's as good as dead. Once taken away, whether he's the culprit or not will be decided entirely by them. Other alchemists spoke up in succession. Jiyu Qingyuan was well respected among the Dan Tower alchemists. You aim to stop me. I have evidence of suspicion. I have Elder Dayu's decree, and I personally came as an elder to apprehend a suspect. You plan to obstruct me. Elder Saluo looked at Chongqing building owner. Chongqing building owner knew that if he intervened, he would lack justification. Under reasonable suspicion, Elder Saluo indeed had the authority to forcibly act and take the suspect. And you lot. Elder Saluo's gaze swept across the furious alchemists. I'm speaking with the building owner, how dare you interrupt? Record every single one of their names. Understood, his subordinates replied promptly, eyeing the alchemists one by one. The alchemists paled and grew uneasy. Jiyu Qingyuan, rest assured. I'll meet with Elder Diyu to ensure you receive fair treatment, Chongqing building owner stated. Thank you, building owner. Sorry to trouble you. Jiyu Qingyuan bowed respectfully, remaining calm despite having prepared for the worst. Building owner, you give him too much credit. A black-haired, black-clad man appeared. Both sides turned their attention to Luo Feng, whose arrival caused Elder Saluo's expression to change slightly. He didn't care much for Chongqing building owner, but Luo Feng Divine Emperor's reputation soared after toppling Elder Tianhe. Boom. As Luo Feng emerged, an invisible and terrifying aura swept outwards. Elder Saluo's expression shifted as he stood unmoved, his scale armor glowing faintly as he resisted the force. But his subordinate insect nest cultivators couldn't withstand it. They were swept off their feet and flung outside by the overwhelming pressure. How dare the insect nest act presumptuously in my domain? Luo Feng fixed his gaze on Elder Saluo. You must be Elder Saluo. Elder Saluo growled in anger, Luo Feng. I have suspicion evidence, an Elder Diyu decree. The insect nest's trash, daring to pursue a culprit. Luo Feng sneered. Do you even know what your nest is infamous for? Elder Saluo's face darkened. At the elder level, city rules generally required adherence, and direct combat within the city was highly discouraged. You, Elder Saluo exclaimed in fury. You've gone too far. Listen carefully. Luo Feng's voice was cold as he addressed Elder Saluo, his words reaching the ears of the insect nest cultivators outside. My Dan Tower strictly adheres to regulations. Without conclusive evidence, no one has the authority to take away our cultivators. Not you, not even the insect nest master. You dare disrespect the insect nest master? Elder Saluo asked, staring at Luo Feng. The insect nest master was a formidable power on par with the 3 hall masters, far above the average elder level. Yes, I don't consider him worth my regard. Luo Feng returned Elder Saluo's gaze. You may convey my exact words to him. I, Luo Feng, will await him at any time. Chongqing building owner stood stunned, looking at Luo Feng as if he were mad. So audacious. Chongqing prided himself on maintaining good relations with various factions in Yulon City. He would never dare behave this brazenly. The gathered cultivators from both sides were also taken aback. Luo Feng Divine Emperor. Jiyu Qingyuan appeared incredulous. He had already prepared for the worst, even purchasing a substitute death treasure. Luo Feng's words shocked everyone present, brazenly humiliating the insect nest master without reservation. Fine then. I'll certainly relay your message exactly as you wish to the insect nest master. Elder Saluo sneered, turning to leave. Buzz. The life and death array activated, enveloping the Dan Tower complex in terrifying waves. Elder Saluo found himself trapped, unable to escape or dismantle the formation. He even sensed his own life force weakening and realized he couldn't recover. The change in circumstances made Elder Saluo's expression shift to one of horror. What are you doing? In the city, are you planning to attack? Elder Saluo glared at Luo Feng in a mix of anger and alarm. You came to my tower acting arrogant and now wish to leave. Such convenience isn't allowed here. Leave 1 billion primordial crystals as reparations, or stay a while longer at my Dan Tower, Luo Feng said with a calm firmness. Both sides of cultivators were stunned into silence, unwilling to get further involved. Elder Sa Luo was caught between panic and rage, calling for assistance from the insect nest master. This video will end here.